Chapter 1, The Sentence. If we want to communicate something to someone, in which language do we express our thoughts? Yes, it's either Hindi or English. Do you know how many alphabets are there in English language? Yes, 26. But how many of them are vowels? Let's count them on our fingers. A, E, I, O, and U. Now, what are the rest of the alphabets called? Yes, they are consonants. Now, when we express our thoughts, we combine these alphabets to make words. Words spoken together in an ordered form which make complete sense is known as a sentence. So, let us learn the definition of a sentence. A sentence is an ordered group of words which makes complete sense. Here are a few rules that we must follow while writing a sentence. First, a sentence should always begin with a capital letter. Second, the words should be ordered in a certain way to make a complete sense. That means, if you say a sentence which does not make complete sense or it is inappropriate, then it will not be a meaningful sentence and you will not be able to convey your thoughts. Third, a sentence usually ends with a full stop. What is the meaning of a full stop? A full stop is a punctuation mark which shows that the sentence ends here. We can also use other punctuation marks, for example, the exclamation mark or the question mark. Take an example. The rose smells sweet. Here, the first letter T is written as capital letter and at the end of the sentence there is a full stop. We have now learnt that if the sentence does not make a complete sense, it is not considered as a sentence. For example, I do not. Does that make any sense? क्या आपको इससे पता चल रहा है कि आप क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं? नहीं. So this is not a sentence. Second, I do not like bananas. Here it is making complete sense, which means मुझे bananas पसंद नहीं. So it is a sentence. Next, is breakfast eating he? Does that make any sense? It does not have a proper order. So it is not a sentence. He is eating breakfast. Here, the words are written in a meaningful order and so it is a sentence. Let us quickly review what we have studied so far. Read the following sentences. First, sweet oranges. Students, does this group of words make a complete sense? No, so it is not a sentence. Second, like sweet oranges. Now there are three words but they still do not make a complete sense. So this is also not a sentence. Third, like I sweet oranges. Again, the order is not meaningful. So it is not a sentence. Fourth, I like sweet oranges. Yes, मुझे मीठे संतरे पसंद हैं. This makes complete sense and is in a meaningful order. So, this is a sentence. It is very easy to identify if the sentence is making a complete sense or not. You can quickly try to translate it in Hindi and then you can understand the meaning of it. If it does not make sense, then it is not a sentence, or if the order is incorrect, then it is not a sentence. Whenever we are writing down a sentence, we know that there are two parts in a sentence. First is the subject or the naming part. Second is the predicate or the doing part. Now, for the naming part or the subject, we consider the person, place, thing, or emotion that is spoken about. Second, the doing part or predicate, it is what is said or described about the person, place, thing, or emotion is the predicate or the doing part. For example, the sun shines bright. Here, the naming part is the sun, it is the subject, and shines bright is the doing part or the predicate. Now, read the sentences carefully and check which is the naming part and which is the doing part, the subject or predicate. First, the dog is barking. Second, they are playing cricket. Third, that bicycle is yours. Fourth, the girl is carrying a bag. I hope it is clear to you. Now, let us revise. The naming part in a sentence is called the subject. The subject indicates the person or thing that does the action. The doing part in a sentence is called the predicate. The predicate describes the action that the subject does. It refers to the rest of the sentence beginning with the verb. Notice that when we begin the predicate, it always begins with a verb. It can also begin with the helping verb. For example, is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, and so on. Thus, a sentence is made up of two parts. First, the subject and the predicate. I hope everyone has understood Chapter 1, the sentence, very well. Thank you.